the Gaming Triple and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Here I will be showing you my new Dinomist deck I literally just got right now. I didn't order all of the cards, some cards I already had, but I just made this deck right now. So I'm showing you guys my Dinomist deck. So, first thing first, I use one Dinomist Rex. I don't prefer like using 3 copies of these. I think just one is fine, in my opinion. So, because I don't really care for his effect too much. It's alright, but just one copy for me is fine. And then I have 2 copies of the Dinomist Spinos, because again, his effect is, it's alright if you cannot really attack or anything. Well, if he has strong monsters, so he could attack directly or make a second attack if you tribute a monster, so it's alright. But again, I don't really use their effects too much. I just use them for power. Next, I use 2 Dinomist Ceratrops, just because they're easy monsters to special summon if you if you don't have any monsters. No, if all monsters you control are Dinomist and none of them are Ceratrops, so another easy way to special summon these monsters. Now I have 3 of these ones because these are really good cards to have, because they're really good because once you destroy a monster by battle, you could add 1 Dinomist card. It doesn't have to be a monster, but any Dinomist card from the deck to the hand, which is pretty good. So always trying to have one of these early on, like when you first draw your hand, is always helpful. Now for this one, 3 of these copies, because these are really helpful for me, because if you have at least 2 or 3 of these on the field and you have a bunch of Dinomist cards on the field, the opponent's monsters is going to be way weaker because they lose 100 attack and 100 defense, so they can't really do damage to you if they have weak monsters, and so that's really good to have. And then I have 3 of this one. His effect is alright. Again, I don't really use his effect too much. I don't really have to use it in certain situations, but 3 copies is always good to have. For this one, it's good. And then 3 copies of this one. Again, his effect is alright, but but you would need to have 3 of these. I would always put this one in the pendulum zone, and then 3 of these, so I don't really have to use them too much. I always put them in the pendulum zone. And then 3 of these. I think this one's the one you could special summon if you don't control a monster and your opponent controls a monster. Yeah, so if your opponent controls a monster and you don't control one of these already, you can special summon this from your hand, so which is pretty good. So 3 copies. Again, you could also use them for the pendulum zone, which I use these 2, which is pretty good. Okay, now let's get to the traps. So for the traps of the Dinomist cards, I use 2 of the Dinomist Howling, because if you have one on the field and like it's already active, you can't really use another one. Like, kind of pointless. You could have 2 on the field, but it's just good to have 1 on the field, in my opinion. Just in case they get destroyed, though. I do have 2 Dinomist Eruption. Again, if a Dinomist get destroyed by battle or card effect, I could target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is a pretty good card. And then I also have 3 Dinomist Rush, which is pretty good because you can special summon 1 Dinomist monster from your deck. It is unaffected by other cards' effects. Also, it's destroyed by the end phase, so it's more cards to get to your extra zone once it gets destroyed, which is pretty good. So you could pendulum summon them back. And then 2 normal trap cards I have is Solemn Strike, which is if a monster uses an effect or a special summon, I can negate it. pay 1,500 and Threatening Roar, just so like again having their monsters not attack me for the turn. So let's get to the spells. So I have 2 Dynamic Power Load, which is the field spell for the Dinomist, which is pretty good because they gain 300 and Dinomist monsters they control. Basically the opponent cannot activate cards or card effects until the end of the phase. No, until the damage step. So when I go into battle, they cannot use Mirror Force or anything like that. So that's pretty cool. I use 2 Dinomist Charge, so this card is really helpful. When I use it, I get a Dinomist from the deck to the hand, and once if a Dinomist is sent to the extra zone, no, to the extra deck, face up, I could add one of those cards back to the hand. I can only use Dinomist Charge once per turn, but it really helps out. So if he destroys a card for my my monsters, I basically get it back to my hand. Now for other spells I use is Terraforming, so I could get the field spell faster to my hand, which is pretty good. I use 2 of the Burden the Mighty because this card actually helps out since I use 3 copies of this. It's just another way making their monsters super weaker, so I don't have to really worry about attack. I use 1 Gold Sarcophagus just because if I need a card really bad, I could just use this to get the card faster. And then I use 1 Shard of Greed. 2 turns I pick up 2 cards. Simple as that, which really helps out. Mystical Typhoon, just 1 copy, and 1 copy of United We Stand because these monsters are not too strong, so like it doesn't really have a boss monster. It kind of does of the Dinomist Rex one, but just to power up my monsters even more. So that is all my Dinomist cards, you guys. All my monsters, all my traps. No cards in the extra deck because this deck doesn't really need one, so it's like kind of pointless. But hope you guys enjoy this. If you guys did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe for more videos unlike this. Bye. Haha.